Family and friends, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be discussing some major stuff that's taking place. Some bank accounts closed for people that are overseas, 3.5% tax on money leaving the U.S., government shutdown, what does that mean for your Social Security? We're going to discuss that and a lot more stuff going on, a lot of fear mongering going on. We're going to put an end to it right here. Hope you enjoyed the video. All right, guys, let's get into it. Okay, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of fear mongering. There are some new things that have taken place and people are just blowing that out of proportion. We're going to discuss it today. Been a couple videos that I've seen, bank accounts being closed while expats are overseas, and they all made a specific mistake. Now, I've talked about this in other videos just because banking is so important. I've talked about I would not go overseas with just one bank. In case you have trouble, you have two, some people say even three banks. Okay, I do have three. I have one that's local here in Albania, and I have two back in the States. The big thing you got to do, guys, you got to have a U.S. address for your banks. Now, to do that, either get a relative, or you can go with a digital mailbox. I use IP postal. Okay, so either a relative's address for your banks, or like IP postals. Okay, digital mailboxes. Okay, you can do that, but a lot of times you can get banks that will cancel your account if you say like I'm living in the Philippines or whatever. Okay, so just have a U.S. address. Okay, really important to be attached to your banks. Okay, when you don't, you can get in trouble, especially with the small regional banks. I had a regional bank. It was a Pinnacle Bank. Loved them. I mean, absolutely loved them. But they were too small of a bank, okay? They didn't want to deal with stuff overseas. So I switched up. I went to Schwab and Bank of America, two banks, okay? Also, what I want you to do before you come, please switch over. But if you can do a year in advance, it'd be great, or even longer, or even a couple months. But what I want to show the bank is you get these direct deposits are always coming in. You know, so you got a decent amount of money in there. You're not getting overdrafts or nothing like that. You want to be a good Joe, okay? So I want you to show that, okay? You get that trail that they can constantly see direct deposits going in. You're going to be okay, but you got to establish yourself. I love Schwab. One of the reasons being is just because they give you back your ATM fees. Now, they can't control the money exchange rate, so I don't want to give you that impression. They can't do that, but ATM fees, they will reimburse you for that at the end of each month. I think Fidelity does that. I think there's a couple that do that, you know. Bank of America doesn't, but I like Bank of America a great deal, okay? We separated our pensions by, April's pension goes into Bank of America, mine's going into Charles Schwab, you know what I mean? Gonna do the same thing with Social Security, just so you have a balance of accounts in case you have trouble with one. Very important, guys, okay? The other thing, that the fear mongering that's going on, there's a new law that came into effect May 25th, or I think that they voted on it in May 2025. 3.5% remittance tax, okay, on money leaving the U.S. In other words, like Wells Fargo, Wise, and so forth. But don't listen to fear mongering. It does not affect U.S. citizens. Okay, it's for people living in the United States and sending money back home to whatever country they're from. So it will not affect you if you're a U.S. citizen. So I want to make sure that gets put out there because, like I said, there's a lot of fear mongering going out there. Don't listen to it, okay? Let's see, next. June 1st, 2025, Wells Fargo announced inactive for 16 months, they will close your account. In other words, if you have nothing moving at all in a Wells Fargo account after 16 months, they will shut down your account, mail you a check. Now, what is the reason for that? How can they do that, or why? Why would anyone have an account for 16 months or longer? What a lot of people do is that would be like an emergency fund. If something terrible happened, they would hit it, but that's the only thing in case it's an emergency. But you got to show some activity on your bank accounts. Like my iPostal is automatically once a month deducted out of my accounts, as well as I still have Netflix. Netflix is automatically taken out of my account, my monthly fee. So you got to show some activity, okay? Or like I said, Wells Fargo has announced June 1st that 16 months or longer with inactivity, they will cancel your account. Credit cards, now they've been doing this. This actually happened to me. No activity on a credit card for six months, not 16, but 6 months on a credit card, you can get your account canceled. And I couldn't believe it because I was at zero balance. I always paid my bills. We ended up just paying off of credit cards and putting nothing on credit cards no more before we came here because we wanted to make sure we're going to be out of debt. All of a sudden I get a notification that they canceled one of my cards. And I thought, this is crazy. April dropped something back there. I goes, this is crazy. Why are you canceling the card? And they go, because you haven't used it in 6 months, which made no sense to me, but it is what it is. Also, the government shutdown that is taking place now and your Social Security. Okay, it's really important, guys. Again, fear mongering. You will continue to get your Social Security checks. Don't listen to the fear mongers. Okay, you will continue to get your checks. I made sure. The only thing that can happen is if you're applying for your Social Security for the first time, that might be a delay. Okay, so applications, if you're applying during the government shutdown, there may be a delay. That is straight from Social Security. Okay, and my Greek travel plans. Every time April and I have tried to go to Corfu, something bad happens. I forget the first. This is like our third time I've been trying to do the trip, and I appreciate you guys voting and going to send this to Corfu. But last time her dad got sick, just before we were going to leave, so I had to send her back to the States. This time we're set, good to go. I already got the places booked up. Okay, for where we're going to be staying. We're going to go to Saranda. We're going to take the ferry over to Corfu, Greece. How cool is that? Because the journey is just as important as getting there, just as important as flying. And it's for the Greek people, so I understand. It's a small inconvenience for me, don't get me wrong. But Greece went on strike, man. Now it's being called a 24-hour strike. Let's hope so. Okay? But the ports and everything for the ferries, shut down. Shut down. But hopefully the strike will be over. The strike is over a decision. They're trying to say that the workday would be 13 hours over there, which is outrageous. Because I remember in Texas, April was forced to 12-hour shifts, and then they were going to try to say, okay, sometimes you might have to do a 16-hour workday. I was like, no, you're done. No, you're going to retire. And the reason for that, her job, she was a corrections officer. If you can't make a mistake in that job. But if you get overtired, you're going to start making mistakes. Or on driving home after a 16-hour shift, you're going to fall asleep and wrap your car around a tree. And I wasn't going to have that. So I pulled her out. And we retired early. We were going to wait till 62 with the 2 pensions and the 2 Social Securities and then head on over here. But we just came over with the pensions. It's worked out really wonderful for us. But I'm still pushing for this Corfu, okay? We're going to go to Saranda, 2 days there, then push on to Corfu. We're going to do it. Do we have to swim the Corfu? I don't know, but we're going to do it. Last thing I want to end with, it's a little bit of a down note. The Philippines, if you haven't heard just the other day, I know there's a lot of bad things happening out in the whole world, but in the Philippines, they just recently, I think 2 days ago, had a 6.9 earthquake near the beautiful city of Cebu. 69 are dead so far. They're expecting that to rise as they go through rubble, as they go through the debris. Big expat community there, but it's not just the expats that I worry about. I know some people over there. Dan from Vagabond Awake is always in Asia. I'm not sure if he's in the Philippines. I did reach out to him. I emailed him. I haven't received back yet. But we know some people out there. Chris Forte knows some people out there. So besides the expats, the Filipino people are great people. So please have them in your prayers. I don't like to see this death toll keep rising, okay? Remember, I love you guys. I hope that answers some questions for you. We're on to Corfu, please. Okay, love you guys. Bye.